by the Marine Corps. I idolized it. I read every single book in the library at school probably 3 or 4 times. I love the uniforms, I love the history, I love the characters. Dan Daly, Archibald Henderson, Chesney Puller, Pappy Boynton, I loved it all. And I couldn't wait until I was old enough to join the Marine Corps. And in August of 1980, I did. Well, in 1974, around the time I was 11 years old, I hit the jackpot. My sister, Kathy, married a Marine, Sergeant Grady Rainbow from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is him here. He was a local recruiter in El Paso, Texas, where my family lived, and where my sister was stationed in Fort Bliss, Texas, as a nurse in the hospital there. She described him as a loudmouth Marine on her floor, and that's how they met. Well, it didn't take long for this 10-year-old kid to have a brand new hero, along with all the other recruiters at the recruiting station. And I'm sure you've seen in the magazines, the little pull-out cards for requesting information to join something. Well, I used to fill those things out at 11, 12 years old, and looking for information on joining the Marines. And of course, his buddies would get one of the cards and go, Grady, your little brother sent in another card. Well, I'd like to tell you about one more hero, one more Marine that I never had a chance to meet, but I wish I did. Lieutenant Colonel, Lance Corporal Terry Householder was Grady's best friend and squad leader when he was in the Marine Corps. They were assigned to 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, Mike Company, Republic of South Vietnam. Terry was a track star from Concordia, Kansas. Apparently he was very fast, and he set records before he joined the Marine Corps and went to Vietnam. Operation Pipestone Canyon was one of the many operations that my company participated in. Their objective was to clear out the enemy in the area of the Gonai Islands south of Da Nang. A few years ago, Grady wrote his memoirs and described part of this operation. We led a sweep into the Khe Sanh Mountains, chasing the NVA that had escaped us during the operation. As usual, I was walking point as we started up to the top of a mountain. I came into a clearing. I saw huts and cooking fires and a large group of NVA soldiers. I put my weapon on automatic and I started firing, running into the camp. The rest of the company followed me, providing support, and we quickly swept the area. That's when we realized we had found a regimental base camp for the North Vietnamese Army, and we were surrounded. And for the next 14 days, we fought our way out without resupply or support. On the way down from the mountain, the next day, Terry came up to us and told us the news. First squad had a point. They were going to lead us down the mountain. But there was an argument between the first squad leader and the platoon leader. Corporal Paul O'Connell, the first squad leader, did not want to take his Marines down that mountain. He did not want to lead them down this death trap again, like he'd done so many times before. Terry came back with the bad news. Second squad now had point. I personally volunteered to lead the platoon down the mountain. We started down the trail, and I glanced back to see Paul O'Connell waiting in line for a place to join the squad. His face told the story, the truth. This is folly 4 times over. Somebody was going to die today, and for what? The path wove around trees, up and down gentle hills, but mostly downward. Downward in this mountain, this death trap that we'd all been down before. And the further we moved down the mountain, the narrower the path became, and the denser the brush. And after several turns, we finally came to one more hard downward sloping turn. Suddenly, somebody punched me, and I fell like a rock to the ground. I looked around, my face bloody, looking for somebody to punch. I had been hit by a ricochet by an AK-47 round through my open mouth. The corpsman patched me up, and eventually the bleeding stopped. Later, they found a piece of the round still lodged in my jaw. I regained my feet and told the lieutenant and Terry that I could take the lead again. I was okay. But Terry said, no way. And the lieutenant agreed. After talking it over, Terry and the lieutenant decided that Terry would lead the patrol along with the M60 gunners. I would be in the trace element known as Tail and Charlie with the back. Well, we continued back down the mountain, encountered the enemy all the way down. And I was still walking point when I suddenly heard a fire ahead. There was another firefight. Green tracers zigging by my head from the enemy rounds, from enemy weapons. I took I hid in a position in a ditch in the trail. And that's when I saw somebody coming towards me. As I raised my gun to fire, I realized it was the company corpsman, carrying Terry with him. Terry looked straight at me, his eyes filled with pain, his arm hanging down, his hand bloody. I said to him, hey man, you'll be all right. Doc will take care of you. The corpsman just crashed down next to me, tears in his eyes, and said, he's gone, man. He never knew what hit him. I took my hand and tried to close Terry's eyes, but it didn't work like it did in the movies. And I could see that it being hit in the front and in the sides. And I lost it. I felt rage through my entire body. I said, go take him back to the skipper. And I got up and I started running forward to where the fire was at. And for the next several minutes, I shot at anything and everything that moved. And I never hated anything like I did right now at that moment. I never hated the Vietnamese or this damn war that I did at that moment. Eventually I came across the radio Terry had been carrying. The handset that he had been carrying had been shot, broken into. The radio was useless. We had no communication with the rest of the company. And that's when a sergeant had come through the bush, yelling at me, something about not being able to communicate with us. And then he turned to me and said, if it wasn't for you doing your job, this wouldn't have happened. I was stunned. And I rose with my weapon pointing at him, ready to squeeze the trigger. When in the fog of war, I heard Ronnie Howard say, don't do it, man. He doesn't know what happened. I'll tell the lieutenant, he'll be all right. Just put the weapon down. And it seemed like hours instead of seconds before I finally lowered my weapon. And I crashed down, tears flowing from my eyes, just letting the pain flow through me. And then I realized my best friend was gone. He had 29 days left, and he was gone. On June 23rd, 1969, in the Quang Nam province, South Vietnam, only one Marine was killed in action. Lance Corporal Terry August Householder. For his gallant service in Vietnam, he received the Bronze Star Medal V for the Navy Commendation with the V for Valor and the Purple Heart. He was posthumously promoted to corporal from Lance Corporal. I will always miss him. A part of me died when he did. A good, decent part. Grady Greenbow. I told you that when I was a kid, I read about the coordinates history, and I was fascinated by it. Of course, at 10 years old in 1973-74, I didn't know about the Vietnam War. I didn't know about Operation Pipestone Canyon, or really the realities of war. I now understand, and I have a profound admiration and respect for men and women like Grady and his friends who went through those times. That's why they're my heroes,